Welcome to the Pretty Confident Podcast, where we embrace authenticity, own our worth, and build unshakable confidence. I'm your host, Sierra Renee, so let's dive in. What's up, you guys? Happy Pod Day. Whew, it has been a week, okay? And y'all, I cannot believe we are finally here to yet another pod episode. I am just so proud of myself every time I pick up my mic, every time I have a short story to tell, because not only does it help me, but it also helps you all. And it shows me that once you thrive in something that you love doing, there is no limitations to how far you can go, what you can talk about, if you're intentional or not. It just doesn't stop at the bare minimum. So let this be a testimony. We are at episode 62. So if this is your first time here, first off, thank you for being here. Thank you for stumbling upon my little corner of the internet and podcasting. But you have 61 other episodes to listen to after you listen to this one. Please, please, please stick around to the end and then go venture off to all of the other episodes that you have at your disposal. But y'all, I don't know. Every time I pick up this episode or pick up this podcast, or pick up this microphone to record an episode for the podcast. My brain is getting a little bit ahead of me. I just feel so accomplished. I feel so fulfilled. But let this be a testament to all of you that whatever you think you are capable of doing, you are. So all you have to do is start somewhere. No matter how big your dream is, figure out what is the first step for you. Because whatever the first step for you is, it may not be the first step for somebody else, right? And so I just really want to focus on you making sure your success story is yours. And I will definitely have an entire episode on a different topic for you all. So definitely stay tuned for the next episode, episode 63, because yeah, that one I got some stuff to talk to y'all about. But y'all know on the last Monday of the month, we talk about the things that we accomplished in the month and the things we have our sights on accomplishing in the month to come. So, this brings the ending of March of 2025. So I definitely have a lot of things that I want to talk about. But you guys, what did you all set your sights on in achieving in March? And did you accomplish that? If not, why? I'm not telling you make excuses, but why did you not accomplish it? We need to take accountability. We need to look at how we can look to pursue it further in the future. And we need to decide, were those goals manageable? Were they attainable? Did we set our goals too high? And we learned that in the month of March, we should have planned out even smaller manageable steps, right? And everybody's journey is their own. Don't forget that, because what works for somebody else doesn't work for you. What works for you doesn't work for somebody else. So you have to hone in, figure out what works for you. And it's okay to make a little bit of mistakes along the way. That is how we learn. That is how we figure out what doesn't work for us. But before I get into this episode, how are you all doing? Y'all know I have to ask, if like I said, if this is your first time here, thank you so much. Whether this was an accident of stumbling upon, my episode, or if it was intentional and you actually searched me up and pressed play to hear what I had to talk about on my platform. Thank you so much for being here. But y'all know I always have to shout out the OGs, because y'all have been here since episode 1, which was about this podcast. So y'all have seen the evolution of the Pretty Confident Podcast. You have seen the evolution of me not using my real name, using an alias, to now using my real name. And you guys are still here for the ride. So thank you so much for, giving me your time, because one thing that we do not get back is our time. And so when you allot your time to people, to things that you deem worthy or necessary of your time, I just want to thank you for including me in that little bucket. Okay. So thank you so much. But y'all know I always ask y'all, how are y'all doing? How are y'all feeling on the day that you are listening to this podcast? Because I know my spirits are upbeat right now because I literally just took a nap. And then I went and walked the dogs. I was like, let's go ahead and record this podcast episode. And yeah, I mean, before I was all right, but I was stressed out. And like I said, I'll get into that in another episode because today we are talking about achievements, maybe where we fell short, so room for opportunity, and what we want to accomplish in April of 2025. So I will say March has been one for the books. If you are anywhere in the business environment of, working, we are ending the first quarter of the year. Sorry if I'm triggering anybody with work while you are relaxing, listening to my podcast. But y'all, we have finished the first quarter of the year. I feel like it went by in a blink of an eye. I'm not gonna lie. And I just don't know how I feel about that. I feel like there's a lot of things that my boyfriend and I have on the horizon that it's like, ooh, this year is going to be one for the history books, especially for me. Um, so yeah, let's go ahead and get into what I accomplished in the month of March. So, if this is your first time listening, let me go ahead and give you, like an insider scoop. I created a 2025 bingo board at the end of 2024. And so I wanted to be very intentional on what I was setting my sights on accomplishing and how I want my life to look like in 2025. And so my listeners know, which you are now a listener if you are just, stepping in or, listening in. My listeners know that you can do or see your life however you want to see it, but it's all about what you do to put in the work to achieve that vision. And so, of course, at the end of the year, everybody always raves about vision boards, but I wanted my followers to know that there are different boards or different, you know, things that you could put together as a way to kind of just plan out what you want your 2025 life to look like. And so, of course, so on and so on, that'll just feel, and build upon, what you end up wanting to do in the next month, in the next year, the next 2 years, 3, 4, 5, 10, whatever. And so I've never done this before, and I thought it would be a great journey to take my listeners on with me as I'm going through it myself, because those are some of the best experiences when you're going along the journey with somebody you do or don't know, but you are able to see what works for them, because in that turn or in that sense, you could either apply it to your own life and see if it works for you. Because let's be honest, sometimes we do things that we see other people doing in hopes that it works for us, but that is the only way that we can determine if it does or not. And if it does, keep doing it. And if it doesn't, figure out another way. And so vision boards were not working for me because, yes, this is how I want to see my life. Picture perfect on the vision board, all of these things. But are we being specific? And I have talked on this podcast since I don't even know one of the early episodes about one, being intentional, and two, breaking down those big and vague goals down into smaller and manageable steps. So I created a bingo board of smaller and manageable steps on how I want my life to look like. One, debt free. Two, have enough or be, comfortable enough where I am financially to start having kids. Three, be married. Three, have a house. Like all of these things of how I want my life to look like in the future. I'm planting the seeds and sowing it so that those things flourish and become possible, become, reality for me. And so I feel like for me, like just seeing the visual was not working. I am somebody that needs to see something that I actually need to work on in order to cross it off my list and move on to the next. And so that is what my bingo board was about. I think it's either episode 50, 51, or 52. It was definitely in January that I was talking about my bingo board and the things that I do have on there. And I want everyone to know, new listener, OG, whatever. I want you all to know, if you created a bingo board or you are just now going to create a bingo board, prayer board, or vision board, don't be afraid to change it based on who you are in this era, who you are in this year, right? Because sometimes we put things on our vision boards that maybe it just doesn't align with us anymore. Maybe we don't want kids right now. Maybe we don't have a partner right now to have the children or have whatever, right? And maybe there's just certain things that change with us internally, mentally, physically, emotionally, where some things that we may have thought was our, you know, goal in life before ends up changing and shifting. So I want you to know, like, whatever you put on here, whatever you put on your bingo board, vision board, prayer board, it is not permanent. You can change it based on who you are and the needs of what you require out of yourself, right? And so, if you want to hear everything that I have on my bingo board, definitely go back and listen. But we're gonna go ahead and jump into what I've accomplished, y'all. You guys know I have been on my credit card journey, like paying off my debt since, let me see, I want to say July of 2024 when I first initiated this podcast. Because I'm not going to lie to y'all, I was in, I want to say about $8,000 in debt. And I was just not serious about paying it off. It was just always a problem, always a stress factor for me. And I did not realize I did not trust myself with finances until I started this podcast. So it had to be like July or August of 2024. And so with me coming out, speaking about it, living my truth, that is when I noticed something needed to give, something needed to change. And my credit card debt was the biggest thing yet. So I decided to go ahead and get serious. Like, okay, you want to pay off your credit cards. You've been saying you wanted to pay off your credit cards for so long, and you've done vision boards about this, being debt free or saving money. And what have you not done? Either of the two. So I became serious. I became intentional and I became determined to pay off my credit cards. And the reason I say this is because once I speak something out loud and put together a plan, it becomes more achievable that way. Sometimes we see a big vague goal and we get so nervous and so terrified that it's like, oh my goodness, let me run away. I don't think I'm ready to tackle that. When that is just the end goal. This is what you want to end up at. This is the result that you want to see. So plan out those small manageable steps. That way, each and every time you accomplish something towards that goal, it builds up the fire in your tank. It adds fuel to your, tank to help you get forward, push you forward, motivate you. Once you become motivated, it's easier to keep going, easier to keep going, easier to keep wanting to tackle the next goal to get to that big goal, right? And so that's when I became serious. And it was a little bit hard, like saying it out loud, because I've always said it like internally, and I never like to talk about finances outside of my head. And so my boyfriend made me come to the realization, like, hey, you always want to talk to me about finances, and I don't know where you are financially. If you're fine, that's perfectly fine, but you don't say anything, and so I don't know how much of a strain it was on you with me not working when I first got here. And so we talked about it, and I was not happy. I was not happy. But you guys, y'all have to realize, when you are in a relationship and y'all are serious and wanting to take it to the next level, finances is going to be a big part of you all's conversation. And I really love my boyfriend and I's dynamic, because we are able to say, hey, we need to reevaluate some things. And that's basically like how it's been our entire relationship when he did move down here. Because, at first everything was on me, and then he was between jobs, and now he's at a stable job, which he's almost been at for a year. Love him so much, so proud of him. And so there were several times where I'm like, okay, we need to reevaluate finances. We need to reevaluate the money that's coming in and reevaluate the ones that's going out, and who is paying what. Because at first I was still paying a good majority, while trying to make sure he's getting things up and running. And so if you don't, or if you're not able to have those financial conversations, it is going to be the bane in you guys' relationship, and your relationship may fall apart. One of the biggest leading things to divorce is financial instability or stability. It's just financial crisis. Whatever your financial stability or instability is, if you go into the relationship not knowing where the other person is at, you guys are not going to work. Unless, because finances are really sensitive unless you two are willing to, you know, pull up your pants on in the relationship and get together and figure out a way to work things out. Finances are just super sensitive for some people. So if you bring it up or things hit the fan and the other person isn't able to cover anything, that could lead to a divorce, breakup, whatever the case may be. So I just want to say kudos to him, kudos to me, because that he is who helped me get out of my, bubble of not wanting to talk about finances. My finances is super private. I'm super, embarrassed. It could be, the other person is embarrassed or doesn't feel confident in wanting to talk about that. But guess what? The only way you can gain confidence in something that you're not confident about is taking small steps to come out of your comfort zone. Because not only are you comfortable in not talking about your finances, you're also uncomfortable in not talking about your finances because of where you are and because you either don't know how to ask for help or you don't know the next step to take to get to financial stability. And so guess what, you guys? I say all that to say I have paid off 2 credit cards. Virtual claps everywhere. OMG. This has been a long time coming. And that takes care of 2 squares on my bingo board. It literally takes care of 2 squares. And the only reason why I say two is because I have one more that I have on here, but I did pay that down to less than 30%. Thank you very much. And so that one is very much well on its way to being paid off. And so one thing I told you all that I really want to make sure I do is bring my cards down to a manageable amount so that I can, manage my money better. And so, what is better than paying off your credit cards and being able to start over financially? Now, I did pay them off. I was paying, I think, what was I doing? Was I paying the biggest one off and then the smaller one? I think I was paying the biggest one off. That was the biggest pain point in my freaking behind because I think that one was, I told you all, I think that one was 3,400. That's paid off. I think the other one was 2,000. That's paid off. And then the last one was like 2,400. And now that one is sitting at $1,400 below the 30% mark. So virtual claps everywhere because I don't know. I feel like if you guys wasn't here, I would not have been able to keep myself as accountable as I wanted to because sometimes when other people know about your situation or let other people in whatever, journey that you're going on, you want to prove people that you can make it to the other end. And I never want to talk about something that I am not being full-heartedly truthful about because it could have been so much easier for me to like bring it up one time, realize that I don't trust myself in finances, but do nothing about it, and then not tell you guys anything else about it. But who is that going to help? Not the person that followed me to hear about my credit card journey to paying off, my debt. Not helping them out because then they're following me on this journey and they never hear how it ends. They never hear of how it's going. And so I want to stay true to myself because whatever I bring on this platform, I want you guys to hear it to the end. Whatever I bring up to you guys, I want you to be able to resonate with it and apply it to your life. Okay, she was able to pay off her credit cards. How can I have that same determination, that same motivation with something that is bothering me or holding me back in my relationship, in my household, with myself, going on my own self journey, loving myself? How can I display those same characteristics with something that I have going on in my own life? Right? So, virtual claps, virtual claps. And if you guys paid off anything big or even anything small lately, kudos to you. It started out with wanting to get all of my credit cards to half of the utilization because those two were at 90% or 100% of my credit card utilization. And so the first thing was getting to, okay, $500 less. Okay, half less. All right, what's next? 30%. So how can we work our way down to getting to that number? By being consistent. I'm not saying drain your pockets to pay these things down. I'm saying whatever you can spare extra after paying those minimum payments, Put them on the cards instead of going out to Chick-fil-A, instead of going get that seafood boil. Put it towards something you are going to be proud of when the job is done. And this I am very proud of. There is no telling how much harder this would have been if I had not kept my head on a swivel and looked down at that finish line and be like, I'm going to see you. I'm going to see you soon. And y'all know my goal was to pay at least one of these credit cards off by June. By the half year mark of 2025, I wanted one credit card to be paid off. And that was that biggest one. And guess what? It is paid off. Not only one, but two. So now my goal is to pay off that third one. If not by June, by the end of the year for sure. So I am proud of myself. Thank you guys if you are actually clapping, if you're happy for me. And that is one of the biggest things. Always making sure you have people around you that not only want to hear the bad things that's going on in your life, but also want to celebrate your wins. It's always easy to complain to people, but it's not as easy to get people to be in your corner, to be happy for you and want to celebrate your wins with you. And so I'm super excited. I'm super happy. I'm super proud of myself. And that is the biggest thing. Being proud of yourself. I know so many people always look for outside approval. Are you happy with yourself? Are you proud of yourself? Did you do this for you? Did you do this for somebody else? Because as soon as they are gone and you just got their validation, okay, what's next? Is it to continue to please them? Or is it to take matters into your own hand and please yourself? This brought ambition to my life, and I actually have that tattooed on me. Ambition, beauty, love, loyalty, and courage is all tattooed on the side of my stomach. And having this ambition is just bringing, the proudest moments to fruition. And I cannot be more happy for myself. The next thing I want to say that I accomplished in the month of March was I was able to save $500. And as I'm doing this, I'm just crossing it off my bingo board. And I've saved an additional 500 to equal 1,000. So you guys, my boyfriend and I are on this hunt to go ahead and start this home ownership process. And so being able to have money in the bank and saving instead of dishing all of this out to credit cards is it's just astronomical. Like, I don't know what to say. To say that we are on the next journey of our life, to now start looking for homes, give our dogs a backyard, give ourselves like a place to plant our roots and start our family is more than amazing. And starting to save for our future, like, this is what investing in yourself looks like. Pay off all your debts and save, save, save. Now, if it works better for you to save, pay the minimum payments, and then whenever hit the amount of money that you have to pay off on your credit card to pay that off that way, that's okay. Or if it works for you to save a little bit and pay off a little bit at the same time, that's okay as well. I'm not telling you there is one way on how to do things. There are a multitude of different roads to get to the same, if not a similar end result as somebody else that you see, as somebody else that you follow, as somebody else that you admire, whatever the case may be. So I know I told you all last month that this is one of the things that I did not accomplish, that I did set my sights on in March. I did not accomplish my no spending challenge of 30 days. And that's okay. That's okay. As long as we are able to acknowledge our shortcomings as much as we can acknowledge our success, this is what's going to make us better people. This is what's going to give us confidence to address the situation at hand and keep moving forward is accountability. And I do have an episode about accountability out there. If you need a little bit more, in-depth conversation about it, definitely go out there and listen to it. But yes, I did not accomplish my no spending challenge of 30 days. There was a lot going on in the month of March. And I don't want to say that I'm not going to spend anything in April. So I'm not going to commit to that challenge because if you don't already know, I am getting ready for a cruise in May. And so I know there's going to be some stuff that I need to spend some money on in April. So I'm not going to commit to that just yet. Like I said, you don't have to commit to anything. if you're not ready or if you know that you're not going to achieve it. Like, I'd rather, okay, sit down, believe that I can achieve it, and actually go out there and try, rather than I know there are going to be some expenses that are coming up. So let me not take that on because I know that that's not going to count towards my goal. So yeah, we're gonna hold off for that one for a little bit longer because I have a 30-day no spilling challenge and a 45-day no spilling challenge. So that's gonna be, a little bit. But yeah, I also wanted to say maybe I need to remove, become a wig influencer because I love my hair, so I have not put the time in becoming a wig influencer, or maybe I can leave it on there and make a decision at the half year mark. So yeah, I have accomplished a lot of things just in the first quarter of the year. So I'm very excited to see how the remaining quarter, or how the remaining quarters, as we're going into the second quarter of the year, how the remaining quarters work out in my favor, or, what lessons do they end up teaching me about myself or about, the things that I have planned out for my life, right? So, what do I want to set my sights on in the month of April? So, I think what I want to do is, let me see. I know I have buy new bar stools, so let me just read out the things that are not colored in on my bingo board. Well, let me start off by the things that we have accomplished in the first quarter. So I've paid off one credit card. I've uploaded a lot more tutorials. I know that was very vague, but I was very little to none. I was uploading little to none on my YouTube and TikTok. And so I've made a big shift and I've seen that shift. So I did go ahead and cross that off. Not saying that when you cross these things off that you can't continue exploring or working on them. You can keep going. Just because you cross it off doesn't mean, okay, I met the mark, let me stop. Unless you truly push yourself to achieve a goal and you're like, okay, this isn't for me. I've actually reached this goal, so I'm going to go ahead and shift gears and focus on something else. Okay, that's perfectly fine. So pay off one credit card, upload more tutorials, liquid diet for 2 weeks, pay off one credit card, start my YouTube channel. Obviously, I filled in the free space that I gave myself, like an actual bingo board. Start digital designing, y'all. I just finished a digital product for my mom for her business, Mixed Vibe travel experience. So she and her best friend have a travel agency or travel experience agency. So I just finished a flyer for them. So like I said, that was also vague. Start digital designing. I've done a lot of things. I've done a video invitation. I done a PDF invitation for my granddad's surprise party. I did some I did a calendar for the month of March when I was planning on doing my 30-day challenge. I did the flyer for my mom. I did a flyer and a logo for my best friend's husband. So, like I said, it's vague, but just knowing that I'm doing more than nothing or one, that's why I see the benefit of crossing it off. Then I applied for a new role at work, y'all. I've now applied to three new roles at work. The first one, I didn't get an interview. The second one, I got an interview. That was the one that I very much wanted, and I did not get the job. Someone got it over me, but she called and let me know that there was nothing wrong with how I interviewed. I was a great candidate, but somebody just had other experience over me. And then this one, I recently just applied, like literally today, or was it yesterday? Either way, I recently applied to this new position. I met with the manager. And so I can't wait to see how this one pans out. I should know in the next few weeks if I get an interview or not. So y'all know I'll keep y'all on the ropes with that one. So yeah, that is putting myself out there. And one thing that I was definitely talking about, of course, if you're new, was that getting out of your comfort zone. Like the last couple of roles that I've had was within my comfort zone, but I have an episode out there about comfort zone and growth zones. And so all three of these positions that I've applied for is definitely at the growth zone because it is something that I'm learning something new about and something that I've never done before. So it's something completely different. Whereas the position that I'm in now definitely just kind of built off the position that I previously had. I learned some new stuff, but it wasn't drastically new. It was still within my comfort zone. So yeah, that one, of course, I marked off because I did apply. And I'm not going to make it contingent on if I get the position because, like I said, these roles are well outside of my comfort zone. So yes, I'm putting myself out there, but I don't want to make it contingent to cross off a goal um based on if I get the job or not, because these are other people, deciding if I get it or not. This isn't up to me. And all of these things I want to be things that I have control over, not more so things that I don't have control over. And that's something that I always try to focus on, whether it's, if I get upset, if I'm overthinking, is it something that you can control? If not, stop stressing about it, because you are going to stress yourself out until you have a health issue if you are stressing about things that you cannot control. If you can control the situation in whatever you're in, okay, be upset with where you are, but how do you turn it around? All right. So I always try to focus on things that I can control, and everything on this board is me focusing on things that I can control. You cannot control what other people do. You cannot control how other people react to things that you do. You cannot control employers hiring you if you put your foot out there, right? Let's just hone in on the fact that you put yourself out there, whether it's within your comfort zone, whether it's without your comfort zone. But nonetheless, I put myself out there and I applied for 3 new jobs. So I crossed that off. Okay, so I've read 5 books this year. Actually, I've read 5 books and I've listened to 2 audiobooks because someone let me borrow their books from work, and I had a lot of stuff going on and I didn't want to hold on to their books. So I was like, let me just buy the audiobooks. I listened to them and I still grasped what was going on because it was a little different from what I was reading. It was more narrative rather than first person point of view. So it was a different type of reading, and I did like it. So I did buy the books to add to my collection because I do want to start a library. So I have my little stamp thingy on there already, reading from the Library of C.R. Armstrong, of course. It has been added to my stash. Um, Save $500, more makeup videos. Again, that is vague, but I can say that I wasn't doing it before and I'm doing a lot more now. I even have some products that I need to review and do my makeup with those as well, so I can upload that. And then liquid diet for a week and save $1,000. So those are all of the items that I have been able to accomplish in March or in the first quarter of 2025. So if you ever feel down, if you ever feel, not good enough, if you ever lose, fuel in your tank, list out the things that you've accomplished. That is only going to lift up your spirits, remind you of why you're going so hard for the things that you want, and it's going to put things back into perspective for you. So those are the things that I've accomplished in the 3 months of 2025. And yeah, I will read off the remaining things that I have on my board so that, everybody knows. Because, of course, I haven't read this really since January of 2025. So let's go ahead and get into it. So, become a wig influencer, 45-day no spending challenge, save two and a half, no, yeah, $2,500, save $5,000, start my spiritual journey, buy new bar stools, create a planner, launch my visual podcast, which everybody knows if you've been listening. My visual podcast is going to go live July 15th, my 1 year mark of the podcast. So if you're not already subscribed on YouTube, definitely go subscribe. It's obviously at The Pretty Confident Podcast. My Instagram is prettyconfident.pod. But yeah, I can't wait to mark that off in July. I want to start offering editing services, so I do need to get on that. 30-day no spending challenge, pay off my last credit card, and renovate my living room. So I almost was able to cross that off this month, but priorities. So other things came up. And I'm glad that I did not renovate my living room because some of those cards would have been paid off. Some other things would have gotten saved. Like, I'm so glad. Sometimes all you need to do is hold off on what you want to do, and other things will end up happening to where it's like, okay, I could go ahead and pull the trigger on this, or no. I am glad that I didn't spend that money on that, because if I did, I wouldn't need it, or I wouldn't have it to put it here. So yeah, but those are the things that I have so far. Maybe the things that I want to focus on in April is probably creating a digital planner just to see if I can do it, because I've created a calendar at this point. I really want to create a digital planner. Um, and then maybe I could start looking at, digital services, things I could do to start selling digital products or offering my editing services, both, whatever the case may be. So I'm going to stick to those two because I don't want to say I'll renovate my living room or buy new bar stools because I have a lot of stuff going on. And I definitely want to make sure my money is kind of freed up for, the cruise that we're going on in May. So yeah, but y'all put in the comment section wherever you're listening to, or just go to my Instagram. Drop what you want to accomplish in April, what you have your sights set on, what you've accomplished in March. I cannot wait to hear all of the good stories, or just in general, what you've accomplished in the first quarter as well. I want to hear all of the things. What were your shortcomings this quarter? How can we negate, any more setback or failure in the upcoming months? And how can we put in a good plan to make the things that we still want to happen, that we failed at, happen? So, yeah, I'm super proud of myself. I hope you are too, because these journeys are not easy. And it takes a strong person to say, yes, I did not. No, I did not, accomplish this, but this is my goal, or these are my next steps to accomplish this, to be able to say I was able to do this. And it takes a good and strong person to be able to continue to do that as well. So yeah, thank you all so much for being here. Like I said, I always feel accomplished when I pick up this mic, when I, am able to talk about something, when I'm able to put something out there that motivates other people. So, yeah, I'm going to go ahead and round us out. I cannot wait to hear from you all, and I will see you all in the next episode, or you guys will hear me in the next episode. So, thank you all for tuning in to the Pretty Confident Podcast. Remember, confidence isn't about perfection, it's about embracing who you are. So until next time, stay bold, stay authentic, and stay pretty confident. Peace out.